I did not have a good attitude. I was very angry, and I was just like, God just really like honed in on me, and it was like, is this the way you want to be in hard times? Is this the way you want to reflect me in hard times? And the self-pity is of the devil. And I'm saying that whenever I went through it myself, it was Satan just constantly whispering in my ear, like, this isn't fair, and he's doing all the fun things, and you're not, and you're working hard, and he's not, and all the things. And so I had to do just what this sweet mama did. I had to start reminding myself, Greg is a good husband. He is a good father. He's never here, but he is a good father.
Yeah.
And I had to stop thinking of all the bad and start reminding myself of all the good. Hey moms, welcome to Wire Talk. Today we're going to be talking about peace for the anxious mom. Because sometimes as moms, we give into fear in our lives with our children and with our husband. We can feel disconnected. We can feel fearful that something bad is going to happen, or we can even give in to self-pity. So today we've got great questions that are going to really look into these topics. And I'm going to give you some practical tips to help you in your journey of motherhood.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wire Talk. I am Emily Karosik, your host, and I'm so glad you guys are here with us today. Mom and I have our cups of coffee because we are ready for a good episode today.
Yes, it's going to be awesome.
I was getting a little sleepy. I've got my comfies on today. It's raining outside right now, and I just told Mom when we were getting dressed for this episode, I just said, I'm going to wear my Spanx suit today, which if you've never heard of the Spanx Air Essentials,
It's life-changing.
It's life-changing.
I'm not going to lie. There's very few things that I say are life-changing.
It's a game changer.
And let me just tell y'all, it's expensive, so you're going to have to save. But
mine was my Christmas present 3 years ago.
It's worth every penny, and that's 3 years old, and look how great it looks.
Yes, it is so comfortable.
Y'all, it's the best thing ever. I travel in mine. It's my travel go-to outfit.
Mom definitely looks more spiffy than me today, but I just don't care today, ladies.
You just don't care?
No, I don't.
Well, whatever.
I do care. I just didn't want to wear jeans. You know what I mean?
I think your hair looks on point.
Well, thank you. Abby, my youngest sister, always says you can have a lesser exciting outfit if your hair and makeup is done.
Well, there you go.
So I feel like, I've got two of the three.
You've got...
And I look put together. I didn't just come out, wearing like sweatpants.
Emily,
this is an elevated sweatpants.
We understand.
Yeah,
we forgive you, and we think you look precious, and you have on gold tennis shoes.
I do have gold tennis shoes on.
So stop.
I feel like I'm
Stop
cute.
with the cuteness.
Yes. Anyways.
I just broke out the white jeans because I thought, you know what?
It's March
25th. Easter's next week, so let's just go for it. Oh, Easter's not next week because you know why? Why are you got your eyes?
Because it's Easter. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, but Easter's at the end of April this month, the year.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel less crazy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm looking at her like deer in the headlights.
Yeah, truly. Because you know why? I know.
Because you're going to Scotland.
We're going to Scotland the night of Easter.
Yes.
Sunday.
Mom and Dad have started this new thing where they leave on Easter.
Listen, we're going to be there for church, and we're going to be there for lunch. What more do you need? We're not leaving till that night.
I need you here all the time, 24/7, every day of my life.
Y'all, she's not joking. Kelsey, I was talking to her today on the phone, and she goes, you just travel so much.
And you're like, just get ready.
And I said, Kelsey, I would think of all people, you would be thrilled for me because she's living my life right now with Kevin as a FedEx pilot, and he's gone all the time. So I said, I would think of all my children, you would be like, you go, Mom. I cannot wait till that day.
I'm going to pat myself on the back. I do think out of all of your kids,
you celebrate me the best.
I am like, you go, girl. So I'm like, it's going to be me one day.
That's right.
And you were talking to these sweet moms, and they were in Marist,
the Marist moms.
Yes. And Mom was talking about adult children, and she's like, and don't you let them suck the life out of you, kids-wise, because they will. But you go do your life once I don't even know how you phrased it, but it was so funny.
I was just saying, as moms, sometimes we can put our lives on hold.
Yes.
And then when the kids get grown and all that, then y'all start having kids. You want us around again, too. I think just out of sheer company.
Yeah.
Because, you're like, I'm going to come over to your house and let the kids play because it's basically going to a playground at my house.
Yes.
And so anyways, I was just like, I got to go. Like, I got trips to go on and things to do.
Yeah.
And Kelsey doesn't like that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I think we like to come over to your house because you bring us peace. Like, because you guys ask questions all the time to Mom, but I don't live with her. I live 10 minutes away from you.
Yep.
So a lot of those questions, a lot of those times when my kids are playing with you,
we talk.
I'm like, Mom, how do you do this situation? What do you do? Like, how do I handle this? Am I handling this the right way? Because I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a faux pas in motherhood to say these words. But I do think I am a good mom.
Good for you.
Yes, I think I am a good mom. But guys, it is still really hard.
Yeah, it is.
And I ask a lot of questions.
It's hard to be a confident mom.
It is hard. Yes.
Yes.
It is hard to be a confident mom.
If y'all do not watch YouTube, I'm telling you, you're missing out on Emily's expressions. I said, it's hard to be a confident mom. And she popped up, eyes got big, looks at me like.
Because it is.
Yeah.
Because you have everyone doing so many things just differently than you, which doesn't mean it's bad, but you have to stand firm in what you're doing for your family.
Stand strong.
And I'm about to drop some big news on the Wire Talk.
Oh, you're going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So I am actually pregnant with baby number 3.
Yay.
So I've been very anxious to tell this whole podcast. I'm like, I don't know, because for some reason, this pregnancy, I'm very anxious.
Yeah.
And we're talking about peace for the anxious mom. And I have just asked you a lot of questions this pregnancy.
I think you've just waited so long for this baby.
Yes.
That's why you're anxious. But y'all, she's had great reports, great doctor reports.
We're all good. Everything's been great.
Yes.
So, but it's a little girl. So we're very excited. And I'm due in August. So I told Mom, she kind of got nervous. You're like, are you going to stop doing the podcast? And I was like, no, I'm going to still do the podcast. So
we may have a baby crying in here in the next room because maybe you could just bring the
nugget with me.
Thing.
So anyways, that's my segue to peace for the anxious mom, but I'm very excited.
Because you need peace because you can be anxious at times.
And so there's been a lot of times where I'm just like, Mom, and I ask her like so many questions. She's like, Emily. I'm like, I know. What is going on in this head? I just think this world is so loud.
Yeah.
And
well, you know what? The world is loud, and that's why the moms at SOAR all got this as a treat, a gift, but I just did a new curriculum, Peace for the Anxious Mom.
Yes.
And y'all can get it too. And go to our website, download it on the app. I mean, you can go buy it on the app or the website or whatever, but
download it on the app, because if you have the app, then you have everything. You have the podcast, you have the resources, you have
it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's
and you can watch it on your phone, you can stream it to your TV, whatever. But anyways, I love the curriculum.
Oh,
I mean, I really
was with you when you were recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm just a sobbing mess in the corner. I'm like, I gotta walk away. Because it's just so good. It just feels...
It's just so powerful. I really felt like God just said, this is the topic I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
This is the topic I want you to share at SOAR. These moms are fearful. These moms are anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And in me, they don't need to be. And y'all, we named Birds on a Wire from Matthew 6:26. When Jesus is talking and he says, look at the birds of the air and how they're not worried and how they're not fearful. Why are you fearful? Because you are more important to me than them.
Yeah.
If I take care of them, I'm going to take care of you even more. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing all of that. But that's what Birds on a Wire was named off of, is Matthew 6:26. So we don't need to be fearful because God is with us and he is on our side. So let's jump into these questions because I cannot. These are some really good questions, and I know the moms are going to relate to these questions.
And I love in 2 of the questions, these moms say, "Give me the hard answer, Karen." Tough love.
All right, they asked for it. Just remember that I'm not being mean.
No,
they asked for it.
Well, I think all moms need to hear it, including myself.
Hopefully, they hear it in love because that's the way I'm trying to
communicate in love.
I try to.
Yes. All right.
All right. Now I'll let her do her thing.
Okay.
Hey moms, it's Katie, and I'm so excited to announce that Peace for the Anxious Mom, a brand new self-paced study from Birds on a Wire Moms, is available now. This study was created to help you calm the chaos and find God's peace in the middle of motherhood. If you missed the SOAR conference this spring, this was our theme. And now you can go even deeper with 6 brand new teaching videos from Karen, plus a beautiful study guide that was designed just for you. You'll also get 4 lock screen graphics for your phone, so the truths that you're learning will stay with you wherever you go. Whether you're facing a full plate this summer or you just need a moment to breathe, Peace for the Anxious Mom is the perfect summer study you can do at your own pace on your own time. And because you're a Wire Talk listener, you can save $5 when you use the code WIRETALK at checkout. Head to boaw.mom/peace. That's boaw.mom/peace to learn more and enroll before the end of June. All right, let's get back to the show.
Hey, Karen. I'm a full-time working mom with 2 young boys, and my husband is in orthopedic residency, so I'm managing everything at home on my own. I knew our life would look like this, but I still struggle with overwhelming feelings of resentment, especially when I feel unappreciated. I often lash out at my husband, even though he's doing the best and validates my efforts. I prayed for patience to remove my sense of entitlement, but I feel stuck. Do you have any practical advice, scripture, or tips to help me get through these tough moments? I'd love any encouragement, here it comes, or tough love you can offer.
Thank you so much for writing in your question. Let me tell you, I can relate to this, sweet mama, because this is exactly where I was many, many, many years ago when my kids were little. Greg was flying in the Navy and FedEx, 2 jobs, averaging 5 days a month home. The rest of the time, I was doing it all by myself. And I really resonated her when she said, the whole feeling of resentment and self-pity. I lived there, and it's no way to live. I just want to let this sweet mama know, and she knows that. So first, I want to focus on all the good.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of good that's going on here. First off, she said, I have a great husband. He's a great father. He's devoted to the family. They're just in a hard season of life.
Yeah.
I mean, residency is no joke.
And that's like you're out of school, but you have to do like a year. Basically, you're
more
a shadow,
than a year,
right?
Yeah, it's more than a year. But think of your TV show that you love so much, the doctor one.
Oh, Grey's Anatomy.
Yep. At the beginning of that show, they were all residents, and remember how tired they were,
They're
and
just
they just sleep in the closets of the hospital and all that. That's a residency.
Okay.
But anyways, it's like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I just wanted to get myself in her world a little bit. Yeah.
So, and she's working hard too, because you also don't make any money during residency. So here's the deal. This is a hard season of your life. And it was a hard season in my life. Greg wasn't making any money. I mean, I wasn't even working, but I was still there at the house with the kids and all that. So the other great thing is the end is almost in sight.
Yeah.
She's very close to it almost being done. But sometimes the closer you get to that finish line, it feels like it's never going to get there, So here's what I had to do. I had to just come to grips within myself and say, stop. Karen, you're throwing a pity party. You got to stop this madness. You've got 8 little eyeballs looking back at you, and they're watching you all the time. And I did not have a good attitude. I was very angry, and I was just like, God just really honed in on me, and it was like, is this the way you want to be in hard times? Is this the way you want to reflect me in hard times? And the self-pity is of the devil. And I'm saying that whenever I went through it myself, it was Satan just constantly whispering in my ear, like, this isn't fair, and he's doing all the fun things and you're not, and you're working hard and he's not, and all the things. And so I had to do just what this sweet mama did. I had to start reminding myself, Greg is a good husband. He is a good father. He's never here, but he is a good father.
Yeah.
And I had to stop thinking of all the bad and start reminding myself of all the good.
Aww.
I had to start reminding myself, you've got 4 beautiful, healthy children. You are lucky to be a stay-at-home mom, even though it's very hard, but you're lucky that you can do this and be here for these kids, because Greg was gone so much. I mean, and I just had to remind myself of all the good, And then I had to start asking God to just fill that void that was in my life. And I just started to say, you know what, God, I want Greg to feel this, but obviously he can't. And really, he wasn't ever designed to fill the void in me.
Yep.
So I need you to fill it. And you know what? God did. He stepped in. And I just have to say, I don't know how he did it, but he did. But I think you just have to stop living in the negative and start working towards living in the positive. And in John 16:33, Jesus says, in this world you will have trouble, but fear not, I have overcome the world. And that sort of became one of my life verses, you know, and also just to give God all my burdens when he says, you know, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I stopped looking to Greg. I started looking to God. And whenever I changed my focus from Greg to God, I got better. Nothing changed. I stayed in that season of my life for 2 more years. She's only got 11 more months, but I stayed in it for 2 more years, and God got me through it.
Do you know what's also crazy? Is Dad traveled a lot growing up.
Yep.
Like, and in that season you're talking about, like, he was only home basically Saturday.
Well, just 5 days total, a month.
No, yeah. And what's crazy is I think because you shifted your focus on Dad's not here, I'm doing it all by myself, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, it just translated so much into our family too.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember Dad being home more than I remember him being gone.
That's good.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. But like, even like when he went off on the war,
The second war,
I was in middle school, and that was really hard.
Yeah.
Because we were all older. I mean, like, you know, and he was supposed to be gone for a year, and thank the Lord, he was only gone 4 months.
Yeah.
And, but in that season, I do remember, like, you were sad he was gone, but you did not allow us to sit in that. You were like, you allowed us to be sad. Like, I understand you miss Daddy.
Sure.
It's okay. I understand. But you just kind of rose above it, and maybe you were having a lot of hard days.
Yeah.
But as your kids, I don't necessarily remember seeing that at all.
No, I think by then I was just like, we got to keep moving.
Yeah.
You know how, like, I don't know if any of y'all have ever watched Band of Brothers. I love that series.
You do love Band of Brothers.
I love that series. But whenever they're landing in the beaches of Normandy and he says, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, because if they stayed still, they were going to die.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of my mantra, like, keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, life goes on. Greg, luckily for us, was in a very safe place. His job was a higher job, so he was never in danger during the Second War. But so I knew that. So I was just like, he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Even if it is a year. So we just have to keep moving.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I just mean, looking back, I appreciate you doing that, because I can see, like, even if Brian's traveling for a week, like, toward, like you said, at the in your answer to the question, the end of it's almost the worst part, because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I could feel myself just getting, like, just so tired of Brian, like, as I'm ready for him to come home and the kids ready for him to come home. But my attitude really does change, and my attitude changes the way that my family
It changes the trajectory of your family.
Yeah.
The children watch the mom, and they follow suit.
Yep. So I just want to tip my hat to this mom.
Yeah.
Just because she is not allowing herself to stay there.
Yeah, she wrote in the question.
That's
which
amazing, Mom.
that's
Like, way
huge.
to go. Like, we are understanding that this is a difficult time, but you're doing a great job.
Going to get through
You
it.
can do it.
Yep.
So, all right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Question number 2. I've been praying about this recently and was really struggling this morning. I turned on your podcast about husbands, and I want you to know that God is certainly working through you, because you answered questions about red-blue husbands. And she's talking about the episode 431, You're Not Your Husband's Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And if you haven't listened to that one, Wire Talk, it's a really good episode.
Oh.
She says, it spoke to me perfectly, but I'm still struggling with letting my husband's moods affect me. It seems to get worse as life gets harder and the kids and jobs, etc. My husband travels a lot, and then when he comes home, he's in a mood. You say to give blues space in order to come out of their moods, which feels very selfish to me of them. It just seems like a very strange way of living with a partner that you're supposed to be connected to. There's very little joy. I am a very energetic, joyful person. Certainly, I have my flaws. However, I really struggle with the red-blueness. Basically, it's hard to connect and feel joy with the blue. Blues are also very rigid. With kids, plans change and we need to be flexible. Blues cannot change plans without a serious mood shift. I'm not sure if I even have a question. I just wanted you to speak more into this because it's hard. You can be hard on me too in your response. I think I need a little kick in the butt to change my viewpoint.
Listen, I think we've all been there. We've all needed a little kicks in the butt.
Yep.
Before I answer her question, I just want us to sort of go over the temperaments.
Like a
high level, because there's a lot of new listeners.
Yep.
And they may not even know what we're talking about. Blue,
Perfect.
red, what's going on, Okay, there's 4 temperaments. There's red, blue, green, yellow. The red it goes back to Greek like choleric. The blue is melancholy. The green is phlegmatic. And the yellow is sanguine. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So the red, their key word is control. And they get what they want out of their anger. And they are very decisive people, positive people, but they definitely have a plan. They have an agenda. They want to control the situation. They're usually your strong leaders.
Yep.
The blues that she's talking about, their key word is perfection. They want everything to line up. Think of engineers. Think of people that analyze things, and they're very methodical in what they do. Blues want everything perfect. They get what they want through their moods, which is what she's experiencing with her husband. They tend to be glass half empty kind of people.
As my husband says, he's not glass half empty. He's just a realist.
I know. That's what my husband, who's a blue as well, says. But they're negative.
Yes.
And they are very sensitive, very thoughtful, but they are rigid and they are critical and they don't like spontaneity at all. So when plans change, it sort of unnerves them and they don't know what to do.
Yep.
Then we have our greens, and their keyword is peace. Emily is a green.
Hello.
They want everybody to get along, everyone to like each other. Let's don't have any conflict. Let's don't have any confrontation. They get what they want by procrastinating. If they don't want to do something, they just don't do it. They're quiet about it, but they just don't do it. They get along with a lot of people. Everyone likes the greens because they're easygoing, they're chill. They do have a stubborn streak, a mile
Very stubborn streak.
wide. Don't push a green back into a corner because you will lose 100%. And their philosophy is to work smarter, not harder. So people can think, oh, well, they're lazy. They're not lazy. They just find the easy way to do things because they don't want to exert too much energy. Then we have our yellows, and they are very positive people.
Which is Mom.
That is me. And probably this mom,
Yep.
she described it like I'm joyful, I'm positive. She can probably go with the spur of the moment, change of
She's like,
plans.
sounds great.
It's all, they make everything work out. Their key word is fun. They love people. They want to make everything a fun. I was listening to myself the other day, how many times I said the word fun throughout the day. It was ridiculous.
That's funny.
I mean, it was literally ridiculous. Yellows get what they want by charming people. Their negatives are they talk too much, they get too involved, they can never say no, and they just want people to praise and adore them all the time.
All the time.
All the time. So, here we go.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
There is a ton of resources about these temperaments. If you're like, ooh, I kind of want to know more about that. I'm not sure which episode, but we did an episode highlighting a blue mom, a blue dad, and all the colors, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, yellow, red. And they're all on the app. So you can search temperaments on the app and find the episode. There's also on the website, you can, birdsonawire.moms.com. You can go to the free resources, and there is a personality quiz, and it's a game changer for your marriage, for your work environment, your parenting
Children.
skills, just in general. So anyways, just wanted to plug that in real quick.
No, I'm
just so
glad
they
you
know.
did. So, if you've never heard of it, it would really benefit you to listen to the podcast, study up on it, because it really does change you.
It teaches you how to also work with the Holy Spirit and not work in your flesh.
Yeah.
Because it's not a clutch. Like, it's not a crutch. It's not like, oh, I'm green, I have to be stubborn. It's like, I'm green, I have these tendencies, but with God, I can be a
Push
stronger
through it.
person and I can have hard conversations and
That's
all
right.
that stuff. All right, go ahead, Mom. Sorry.
All right. So, I hear what the husband is saying. Like, he travels a lot. When he comes home, it's probably chaotic in their home.
Mhm.
I don't know how many kids they have, but it's probably chaotic. They don't like chaos. So, I think you as a wife, And this is probably going to annoy you, sweet wife, because you're like, I'm doing all the work. Then he comes home, he's in a bad mood. He's, moody and all that. And that's annoying. Like, I just want him to jump in, be joyful, and have a good attitude. So sometimes whenever we feel that way, we don't want to go and do the hard work ourselves because we're like, they need to do the hard work.
Yep.
Right? But if this sweet mom will sort of set the environment for her husband, I had to learn how to do this. And this is hard. I had to make sure everything was back in Greg's desk. If the kids had gotten out his scissors, his tape, his pens, pencils, all that stuff, had to make sure they were back in his desk. Greg does like a very orderly home. And so the day before he came or the day he came home, I made sure everything was picked up. It may not be in like everything in its place, but it was picked up off the floor. It was not that chaotic. So he didn't walk into a chaotic home, if that makes any sense. Nick can get that way, but I just tried to help him out a little bit. And then whenever I say to give the Blues space, that is one of their core needs. And if you go online and listen to all the stuff that Emily's telling me, each temperament has their 4 core needs. You need to pay attention to that. So space and silence is one of them. I'm not saying this dad gets a pass and he can just check out, for hours on end, but I would just say, hey, listen, you need about 30 minutes to be by yourself. So I'm going to take the kids. We're going to walk around the block, get your act together, and then we'll be back, or I'm going to take the kids and we're going to run to the store or whatever. But we are coming back. We do have a large family. We're all here. So let's have a little attitude adjustment and let's move on. I also think sometimes whenever you get in this stage of parenting, in this stage of marriage, all these wonderful good traits about your husband have sort of faded in our minds and we start noticing all the negative traits. So I really want to encourage this sweet mom, go back and think, okay, what are the good qualities of my husband? He is thoughtful. He is sensitive. He does think about things and notice things that other people don't. He is kind. He's compassionate. He sees me and appreciates me and stuff like that. Start reminding yourself of all the good traits that he has instead of focusing on all of his negative things. I just think in marriage and in parenting, we can get down and out on our spouse and I'm not connected and I'm not this. Well, okay, that goes for any marriage. So what can you do to get back connected? You can, get back towards the person that you fell in love with from the very beginning. Maybe you and him need a night away. Maybe you and him need a couple date nights. Like maybe you haven't gone out in a while and you need that reconnection. So also, focus on his strengths, not his weaknesses. And then she also said, I think it's a little selfish of him that he needs space. Well, you're right. It is selfish of him, but we can all be selfish. The yellows can be selfish because they want all the adoration and attention all the time. The greens can be selfish because, if they don't want to do something, they just don't do it. Well, that would be nice. That nobody else gets that pass. The reds are selfish because they want to control and they're dictating everything. And if people don't fall in line with them, they get angry. That's a selfish trait.
Yep.
So yeah, he is selfish, but we all are. Okay. And then I would just also ask God to create a new love in your heart for your husband. I don't know how long you've been married, but probably more than 5 years.
Yeah.
And I just think we can get in these ruts. And instead of focusing on the rut and the negative, I would just say, God, create in me a new love for my husband and show me ways that I can love him. Because I tell you, Greg and I got into this cycle and he was sort of the same way. We had this desk in our kitchen. It was right at the back door. It was in Virginia. Do you remember this desk? And it was cluttered. It was the catch-all. Backpacks, library books,
Everything.
Ballet slippers, soccer balls, everything was on this. And Greg told me, he walked in the house one day and he goes, can you just please keep this desk clean? And I was like, for the love. That's the one thing you focus on? We got 4 kids running around here and dinner is ready and you just got home from a trip and why can't we just be happy? And I was talking to a friend of mine and he was a pastor and he just said, Karen, just clean the desk. And I'm like, it's not fair. I don't want to clean the desk. And he's
Yeah.
like, just clean the desk, Karen. That will show Greg that you love him. And I was like, ugh. So
Don't want to.
I cleaned the desk. I did not have a good attitude about it. I was so angry. But when Greg walked in the house that night, he noticed it instantly. And he said, thank you for cleaning the desk. And I was like, you're welcome. I mean, you know, I was just not happy. And then after dinner, he said, do you want me to do the dishes or do you want me to give the kids a bath? And I was like, I want you to give the kids a bath.
I always pick dishes.
Yeah, I said, I have no offense, but I've been with these kids all day long and I'm tired of it.
Yep.
So I will luckily, gladly do these dishes by myself, turn on some music, just chill while you go upstairs and do that chaotic bedtime routine. And I did notice that when I cleaned that desk, even though it wasn't fair, Greg's heart softened towards me. He came towards me, and then I came towards him. And before you know it, we got back into a good rhythm and a good cycle.
And it all came from a desk.
It all came from a desk. It all came from me humbling myself to feel like, how can I serve him? And I know we fight against that because we're like, it's not fair. He should be thinking about that for me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to do the same thing. You, before we started the podcast, and we'll call Emily out here,
Oh, man.
you said Brian's been traveling a lot, and he said, I wish you were here, and you said, I want to go on a date night too.
Yeah.
And you're like, so plan the date. Maybe you need to plan the date.
Yeah, maybe I can, Mom.
Yeah, I know, but it makes us mad, right?
I know.
Because we want them to plan the date. And I learned a long time ago, if I'm going to wait on Greg Stubbs to plan the date, I'm not going.
I know.
But if I plan it and I get the sitter, he's happy to go. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Listen, I didn't ask a question in this podcast. I'm just kidding. I need it. Listen, everybody needs a little kick in the pants every once in a while. But you're right. You're right.
I know sometimes we just have to do it first. And I know it aggravates us. But that's marriage.
Yeah.
It's marriage.
That's where my stubbornness comes in.
I know.
But then that's just shooting us both in the foot.
That's right. Because you really want to
I
go.
really want to go on a date with my husband.
That's right. So do it.
Well, Mom, thanks for the kick in the pants.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. I love you guys.
No, you're fine. It's good. Everybody needs it every once in a while. And my stubbornness does come out. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. So I don't. But Brian is actually on an airplane heading home. And I'm like, probably should have picked up the house a little bit before he walks in.
Oh, while I'm going through my thing?
Yeah, I'm like, because the kitchen's a mess. I did make up the bed, though.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's a win. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah.
Question 3. Hi, Karen. What a blessing your podcast has been to me. I lost my parents when I was fairly young, and I love hearing your wisdom mixed with humor. Lots of your wisdom I had to discover the long route when my kids were little, and lots I'm still figuring out with the Lord's guidance. My 17-year-old has struggled with anxiety and depression, but has been doing so much better for a couple years. Now a friend is back in the picture and she is wanting to spend all her time with, and my daughter is starting to act and talk like she did before. Any advice on how to guide her some boundaries there without completely shutting her down? She is an all or none, dives in head first, which I love about her, but oh my, it is hard to parent. She does talk to me, but in opportune moments, not a lot. When she spends time with this friend, I can feel myself becoming anxious about her going back down that old path.
I can understand that. Because whenever you see your child struggling and then they get better, you're like, oh, okay, we're through it.
We made it.
Yeah. And then when they regress, you're like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the deal. She probably doesn't want to go back either. But she's 17, so she doesn't know how not to go back.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we as moms can come in. And I just think it's the way we approach our daughters especially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would just talk to your daughter and I would just say, hey, I've noticed your friend is back in your life. Why did she leave? And then why is she back? Like, you know,
so
what
you're
brought her
asking
back?
a lot of questions that aren't like, don't do it, but you're just asking questions as I'm interested in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, tell me what's going on. You know, she left a little bit. Now she's back. Okay. Listen to her. This is a time where you as a mom are listening. You're not giving advice, which I know is hard. But then I would say something like, I noticed that you're a little different whenever she's around. You seem a little bit more anxious. You seem a little bit more troubled. Like, what is does she say certain things that make you feel anxious? Do you feel insecure? And just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And then another thing I learned with my girls especially is it would help y'all whenever I said, I had a friend like that.
Yeah.
And I remember, and then tell your daughter a story of how it related to you. And just be like, I really liked this friend, but I realized that maybe she wasn't good for me because every time she was around, I was negative, or I would gossip, or I would do this, or I would do that. I wouldn't necessarily speak negatively about the friend.
Oh, that's an interesting.
I would not go in and say, hey, she's not good for you. She's this, she's that. Because what teenagers do, I learned, was the more you speak against something, the more they run towards it.
They're like, I'm going to show her.
Yeah. Or they just feel like you don't see the person I see.
That's more of it.
You don't like them because you don't really know them. And I do know them. So therefore, I'm not listening to you.
Got it.
Definitely doesn't work with boy-girl relationships. Just FYI, Mom. That's just an extra little tip. But here's your secret weapon. You pray for her.
Mm-hmm.
You pray for your daughter. And you pray, God, this person is back in my child's life. I don't know how to get them out of her life. I know they're not a good fit for my daughter because it creates this anxiety and depression and all of that. Give me wisdom on how to navigate these next days, months, years, whatever. And I just want to lift my daughter up to you and protect her and to guard her and have your angels just surround her in protection. And I have prayed many of friends out of y'all's lives. I have.
And then what's crazy is it's not like I'm praying for that friendship to go away.
Yeah.
So you just kind of kept that to yourself. Which
Always.
I think
You
that's
don't
smart.
ever reveal your cards on that.
No.
Until they're your age and be like, yeah, I prayed
You would
that
have been
friend
a
out of your
good
life.
poker player, Mom.
That's right. Listen, we got to have our tricks up our sleeves, so we don't need to reveal all of our secrets.
That's right.
So
That's encouraging.
I hope that helps.
I think that is very encouraging because you're not saying, let her figure it out on her own, but you are also covering her in prayer. And really, prayer is a huge weapon.
But by you, that's true. It is.
It is huge.
And by you asking the questions and not necessarily telling her.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we hear ourselves talk and then we start putting it together in our own minds, like, oh, but you didn't tell her. She's figuring it out for herself.
Right.
But you're just sort of guiding the
So
conversation.
let me ask you a follow-up question. What if this mom does that and immediately the daughter just shuts down?
Well, then I would say, okay. If I overstepped, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to, whenever you are ready to talk about it, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm listening. And that just needs to show you as a mom, you need to pray all the more.
That to me would be like, if you acted like that with me, like didn't keep pushing, I probably would have come to you.
Yeah.
I would have probably been testing you. Like, how much is she going to push?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to show her my worst cards and see how she reacts.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think that's what teenagers do. You know what I mean? Because they're like, Mom doesn't actually know what she's talking about.
Right.
So she's going to tell me everything, and then I'm just going to prove her wrong.
Right.
So, but if you act like that, I do feel like it's like, all right, that was kind of cool.
I remember in middle school, Kelsey was doing everything in her power to push me out because she wanted to go down a bad path.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she could push me out, then she could blame it all on me.
Yeah.
Mom's not there for me. Mom doesn't care.
Right.
All the teenager things. And I told her one day, we were sitting on the back porch in our old house, and I just said, Kelsey, you will never be able to push me away.
Oh.
I love you so much, even in your worst. And I remember her sitting there looking at me, and she just started crying.
Aww.
And I started crying because I was like, I love you. And even if you do make bad choices, I'm still going to be there for you. Emily is so pregnant because she has got tears in her eyes.
That's so sweet.
I love Emily's tender self.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was.
But the fact that you cried, guys,
Yeah.
she's like a heart of stone. She never cries.
Yeah.
So anytime I hear that mom cries, I'm like, oh my gosh, that must have been so emotional.
I know it was. It's hard.
So,
It's hard.
well, Mom, I think that was a great Great answer. And we've got one more question before, and I couldn't think of a better answer to finish off this podcast.
All right, let's do it.
Hi, Karen. Birds on a Wire has helped me so much in motherhood, marriage, and my relationship with Jesus. One thing that really hit me recently is that I do not fully trust God. I love him. I have been a Christian my whole life. Once I had kids, I gripped with fear that they or my husband would be taken away from me. The Lord gives and the Lord takes. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I have no clue how to let this go and give it to God when I know he has every right to take away my girls and my husband. I feel horrible admitting I don't trust him the way I should, but something that I absolutely have to do. Thank you so much.
I can relate to this mom. Here's the deal. I'm so proud of this mom for admitting what she admitted.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, that's where I would say 90% of us stand. We love God.
Yeah.
We go to
100%.
church, we sing the songs, we read the Bible, but when it really comes down to trust, we don't trust. We don't. And it's funny because I talk about that in Peace for the Anxious Mom in that curriculum. So here's what I want to encourage you. I just want to say, I hear what you're saying. I have felt this exact same way. You know, Greg, my husband, was a fighter pilot. He flew F-14s. He was in Top Gun, so he was an aggressor pilot. It's what he did. He dogfight all the time, every day. He dogfought every day. That's what he did. And it was a very dangerous job. And I was always afraid that Greg was going to die. And so I had to come to grips that I was not in control of Greg's safety. I could not, all my worrying in the world wasn't going to keep him safe up in the air. That was God's job. I could not be a nervous wreck all the time, and except when he was walking around on land and not flying, because he flew every day practically. And I just had to give him over to the Lord. And I just told God, you know what? He is a great husband. And as long as I have on this earth with him, whether it's 1 year, 5 years, 15, 20, 30, whatever it is, I'm just going to enjoy my time with him. And if he does die, he died when it was his time. I had to do that again whenever my son, who's now 30, went on deployment last year in the Navy. He was in F-18 squadron off the West Coast, and they were, on a ship around the South China Seas. China was not playing fair during that season, and it was very stressful.
It was high tension for sure.
It was high tension, and I had to just tell God, you've given me a wonderful son for 30 years. I do not want you to take him. I do not want his time to be up, but if it is up, you gave me a blessing for 30 years. So I hear what you're saying, sweet mama. And I just want to let y'all know, Greg was involved in a mid-air collision. It was when he was in the reserves, flying F-18s, and he was also flying FedEx, and he chopped off part of his wing, chopped off part of his tail. His wingman ran into him. He ended up landing the jet home. And even McDonnell Douglas, the maker of the F-18 at the time, said, we have no idea how this plane landed. This particular plane, we have no idea. And Greg said in the news, he was on the news and all that, he said, the angels brought me home, because literally he couldn't explain it. So I just realized that God did keep him safe that day, and God was good. But even if Greg would have died that day, God would have still been good. God would have gotten me through every single thing I would have to go through, even no matter how hard it was. And so that's what we have to remind ourselves. God is a good God when good things happen and when bad things happen. He will not leave us. He will not forsake us. And you just don't need to worry about when is their time to die, because we don't know. So just enjoy what you have as long as you have it. Yeah. But it is a fear I think all of us mamas have. From the moment you find out you're pregnant, you're like, oh no, what if?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like you said earlier today. Like didn't want to tell everybody because, I don't know. Well, none of us know.
Yeah.
So we have to push past our fear. There's 2 Timothy 1:7. That verse really helped me. For God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. So if you are fearful, it's coming from the enemy. Yeah. So fight against him and say, no, not today.
Not today, sir.
That's right.
Not today. Well, everyone, that is all we have for us today. And this was such a good episode. This was a long one. So if you made it here, good job.
Yay.
It was a long one, but it was a good one. And I cannot encourage you enough to download and buy Peace for the Anxious Mom, because you know what? The enemy wants us to stay in that spirit of fear. He wants us to stay clenched in and holding on tight with our fists and not let go. But God is not, He does not want that for us. He wants us to have peace, and He's designed it, and He is the giver of peace. So I just pray that you are inclined to purchase the curriculum, because it's going to be a game changer for you. When Mom was recording this curriculum, I'm sitting there listening to all of it, and it is so good. And just there's this one session that she says, and she just like, Mommy, it was just so crazy. But like, you're talking and like you're telling this story of the Bible and this story of peace, and you say God sees you. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, I start crying, which, you know, I wasn't pregnant at the time, but I just cry all the time. But I just was like, that's going to be so powerful for these moms in whatever your story looks like, wherever you are. But God sees you, and He is there for you. And so I just pray that you're encouraged to listen to this curriculum, and that you can let go of some of that fear and have peace, because you will not only be, you'll walk lighter, you'll be a better mom, a better wife, of just a better sister in Christ. And I just pray that, you know, you can purchase that today, because it's going to be life-changing for you. And it was for me just listening to it. But all those links are in the show notes below. If this was helpful for you today, please like, share, and subscribe so other people can hear the wonderful news of Jesus and what peace He brings us, and hearing Mom give practical tips to these moms who need the sweet love. And if you ever have a question, please answer, fill in those questions. You can actually, on the app, there's an Ask Karen button on the very bottom, and we will get to your questions, hopefully in the next couple of episodes. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time.